Welcome. Let's talk about something that so many of us wrestle with in the quiet moments, that deep, settled confidence that we truly belong to God. It's called assurance. And today, we're going to see how a very simple shift in focus, what we could call the confession of a sheep, can turn this internal struggle into a real and lasting peace. Do any of these questions sound familiar? Yeah, I thought so. When our sense of assurance starts to wobble, our first instinct is usually to look inward, right? To take our own spiritual temperature. And these questions, they can become this constant anxious hum in the background of our lives. They come from a good place, but man, they can be exhausting. But here's the thing. The relief we're looking for doesn't actually come from finding the perfect answers to those questions about ourselves. It comes from asking a totally different question. It's all about a shift in focus, away from us and onto someone else. And this brings us right to the heart of it, the confession of a sheep. This is about a fundamental change in perspective, moving away from that constant self-evaluation and toward a simple, powerful trust in the shepherd. We all know this verse, don't we? We hear it and we think of comfort, and it absolutely is comforting. But before it's a comfort, it is a declaration of fact. It's an objective reality. Notice, it's not about how I feel as a sheep. It's a statement about who the Lord is. And that right there is the bedrock of our assurance. So here's the contrast we have to see. On one side, you have this endless, draining task of evaluating your own sheep-ness, your feelings, your motives, your responses. And on the other side, you have the restful act of just trusting the shepherd's care, focusing on his character. One path leads straight to anxiety. The other one, that one leads to peace. Okay, so saying I am a sheep might feel a little humbling. And it is, but it is not an insult. In the Bible, sheep are pretty much defined by their neediness. They're totally dependent, they wander off all the time, they can't defend themselves, and they absolutely cannot rescue themselves. Accepting this reality about who we are is actually the first necessary step toward finding real rest. And here's why this is such incredibly good news. We often think our neediness, our wandering, our weakness, that these things disqualify us, but it's the exact opposite. Our neediness is what qualifies us for a shepherd's care. This truth is a deep comfort, but only when we finally stop trying to be so self-sufficient. So what does this look like in practice? Well, it leads us to this idea of anchoring ourselves to the shepherd. It's about finding real stability in a place that's beyond our constantly shifting feelings. This is such a powerful image, isn't it? I mean, think about it. If you anchor your sense of security to your own feelings, which change like the weather, that anchor is just going to drag. It's useless. But if you anchor to the solid, unchanging character of the shepherd, well, that's where you find true, unshakable stability. So how do we actually do this? It's not just a thought exercise. It involves our whole person. With our minds, we have to consciously choose to believe the truth about who God is, no matter how we feel. With our affections, our hearts, we have to intentionally turn away from that nagging fear of rejection. And with our will, we make an active choice to trust his leadership instead of our own doomed attempts at self-sufficiency. And this focus on the shepherd gets even better, because it's not just about our act of trusting, it's about his trustworthy actions. So let's dig into the work of the shepherd, how he is actively caring for you right now. Did you catch that word? Makes? He makes me lie down. You see, sheep physically will not lie down unless they feel completely safe. No threats, no fighting with other sheep, no hunger. So the shepherd doesn't just say, hey, you should rest. He gets busy creating the conditions that make rest possible. He deals with the things that trouble our souls so that we can actually rest. This speaks directly to one of our deepest fears, doesn't it? What if my heart is too hard? What if I'm beyond his reach? But think about it. A heart that's truly hard doesn't worry about being hard. A heart that fears rejection is simply a heart that is aware of its own need. And remember, the shepherd doesn't go looking for perfect, fluffy, soft-hearted sheep. He seeks and saves the lost ones. And when he finds us wandering, he restores us. But we have to be careful here. Biblical restoration isn't just about getting a warm, fuzzy feeling. The word actually carries the meaning of being brought back, of turning around. It means repentance. It's a course correction for the soul, guided by the shepherd. So what does that kind of repentance look like for someone stuck in the cycle of doubt?
Well, it looks like intentionally turning away from that constant internal checklist. It means calling our doubt what it is, a form of unbelief, and confessing it. And it's actively renouncing that deep-seated lie that tells us we have to somehow earn our own assurance.
Even in the darkest times, the shepherd's work is so profound. The psalmist says we walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Now, shadow is real, you can see it, but it has no substance. It can't actually harm you. And why is it only a shadow for us? Because Christ bore the substance. He took the real judgment, the real abandonment, the real death on the cross. Because he faced the substance, we only ever have to walk through its shadow. And right here, the psalmist makes this incredible pivot. Up to this point, it's been talking about God in the third person. He makes me. He leads me. But here in the valley, the language becomes personal. It shifts to talking to God, for you are with me. In the darkest places, our theology becomes communion. His presence is the ultimate reality.
So, what all of this has been building towards is a final, crucial truth. Assurance isn't something we can generate or build for ourselves. It's something we receive. It's a gift.
Jesus gives us this beautiful picture of the vine and the branches. Where does the life come from? It flows from the vine to the branches. The branch doesn't strain and strive to create its own life. It just stays connected and receives it. Assurance is just like that. It flows from Christ to us by His Spirit.
So, if assurance flows from Him, why does it sometimes feel so blocked? Well, think of a clear mountain stream. The source up on the mountain is constant and powerful. But the stream can get clogged with debris, right? Things like false beliefs, fears, and especially that obsessive self-analysis we've talked about, they're like rocks and logs that dam up the flow.
Our job, then, isn't to create the stream. We can't. Our job is simply to help clear the debris, piece by piece. And when we do, and that feeling of assurance begins to flow again, it's not because we manufactured it. It's because the source, God Himself, never ever failed in the first place. And the psalm ends with this absolutely stunning promise. Goodness and mercy, they aren't just passive things waiting for us at the finish line if we're good enough. The original language here is active, it's dynamic. It suggests they are pursuing us, like two loyal sheepdogs the shepherd has sent to guard our rear flank every single day of our lives.
So after all of this, we can finally let go of that anxious, exhausting question. The pressure is off. The focus is no longer on the strength of our grip.
Because the real question, the one that changes absolutely everything and brings that deep, lasting rest we're all looking for, is this one. Who is holding you? Your assurance isn't in your grip, it's in His.